Great news on a Friday. Racism is back, folks. After BBC star Nihal Arthanaika complained that working with so many white producers affected his mental health, the boss of insurance giant Aviva, Amanda Blanc, has said that she has personal sign-off on any white men entering senior management positions. Now, this is a wonderful development. She's so right to reject the idea of a colourblind society. Who wants to listen to that old bigot Martin Luther King with his crazy idea of judging people by the content of their character, not the colour of their skin? Move over, Grandpa. It's 2023 and it's all about segregation, separate spaces for people of colour in American universities and performances for black-only crowds in London theatres. That's progress, folks. No, take my word for it, by abolishing the concept of merit, remember, that silly idea of just working hard and being brilliant at your job, the Aviva boss is definitely on the right side of history. If you're getting open heart surgery, you don't want people who are the best. You want someone that's the product of box ticking as you go into cardiac arrest. Fulfilling a quota is so much more important than being kept alive. And if you have an issue with that and you wind up in an early grave because of nonsensical political correctness, you're the problem. And anyway, who isn't sick of dusty old men like Albert Einstein? Seriously, who needs the theory of relativity? Boring. What about Winston Churchill? What an embarrassment. Toxic masculinity, Lin May. Seriously. And as for those old dinosaurs, the Beatles, cancel the losers now. Fair play to Aviva's Amanda Blanc, whose name ironically translates as white. Getting white men out of the big jobs has been such a resounding success. After all, there's Dame Alison Rose from NatWest. Oh, no, wait, I think she's gone because of the debanking scandal and breaching client confidentiality. Well, don't worry, there's Dame Sharon White, boss of John Lewis. Oh, no, John Lewis have seen their profits collapse and she's leaving. OK, well, what about the world of politics? How about the amazing First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon? Oh, she resigned in disgrace. Well, you can't win them all. The Aviva boss is absolutely right. Too many white people in the boardroom, including her. After all, she who lives by the sword dies by the sword. If Aviva is going to have proper diversity, then she's got to go too, surely. The company would save the reported £5 million a year that they're paying for her, which is what I call white privilege. Anyway, I'm delighted to say I'm not worried about this change in the boardroom. I've insured myself against the danger of being cancelled, OK? In the unlikely event that I no longer tick any woke boxes, I will reinvent myself as Marjorie Dolan. Isn't she gorgeous? Boys, form an orderly queue. I spent all day getting into that Marjorie wig. Now, reaction from my top panel. We have ITV reality star Junaid Ahmed and fearless political commentator and queen of common sense, Lin May. Lin, you might have detected my tongue in my cheek there, but your reaction to the news from the Aviva boss, has she got a point?
I don't believe it. I'm sure that she's been misquoted, because how can somebody be filled with such misandry and racism herself? To be anti-men, firstly, and then to be against someone based on the colour of their skin. Isn't that what we're fighting against?
You would hope. Why have some on the left given up this idea of a colourblind society?
I think that they just want to be able to positively discriminate. Now, what I do understand is when we do look at boardrooms and people heading companies, there isn't enough diversity. But I don't think the way to do it is to now come out and say we want to ban white males. How is that progressive at all? Well,
indeed, because the bottom line is you want meritocracy. You're here tonight because you are the best, Junaid. And you don't want to be ticking a box, do you? You want to make sure that the best people are in the top jobs.
100%. And I think we've come so far with diversity as well. I think I love to work in an inclusive environment with all sorts of people from all different nationalities, skin colours, and just embrace that. We're an ever-changing society, and I think we've come so far with it. I don't think it needs to be either one side or not the other side. I think naturally it's an inclusive environment where we're all different people, and that is how it should be.
Most definitely. I mean, I think this will backfire. This is going to upset a lot of people because we need to bring our country and our community together, don't we? We've got to get out of these groups. And if it's the job that's going, in a company like Aviva or Barclays Bank or NatWest, whoever it is, it's got to be the best person, and it would be a fantastic thing if that person is a person of colour, but that shouldn't be the deciding factor.
I mean, I used to work as a bank manager before I turned reality star.
Is that right?
And I think I got the job because I was amazing at my job.
Yeah,
and
most
that's
definitely.
what I'd like to think. And
Most definitely.
I loved working in the bank. I worked with all sorts of different people. I progressed very quickly, not just a pretty face, got a very good brain on me as well. And I think it is the right person for the job, regardless of ticking boxes or anything like that. If that person's good for the job, they deserve the opportunity.
Have you still got the power to extend my overdraft?
I don't, unfortunately.
drop you an email. You know when you work in a bank, right? They've got all this cash in there.
Oh, the
Do they miss the odd £50 note? I don't think they do.
No, we're very audited. Well, I mean, this was about 4 years ago.
But there's so much cash flying around. Do you really think they'd miss a couple of notes going missing?
I mean, everything to each pound is audited.
Did you know any dodgy colleagues when you were in banking?
I didn't actually. I had a very good team.
I'm glad to hear it.
I actually loved it.
Well, I used to work for Burger King, and I can tell you several people used to steal burgers in their lunch break.
I'm sure they won't miss a few burgers.
Yeah, well, you would hope not, wouldn't you? Listen, how do you see this one going? Because we've got to get it right. In the end, Aviva have been very clear, OK, that they employ the best people.
Yeah.
The person that runs Aviva, the woman that I've been talking about tonight, she says she's not anti-men, she's not anti-white men. She just wants to make sure that at those top-level positions, you have the maximum opportunity of diversity. But they argue they still get the best people.
Is she saying, has she actually come out and said, I do not want to see white men be employed in top jobs?
What she said is that she has sign-off. She makes sure that she signs off any white males that go into senior positions. That it's got to be a decision that she clears rather than happening underneath her.
But then any other person from any other race is not signed off.
That's the implication.
But this is what doesn't make sense to me as well. I am all for diversity. I would love to see people of all different nationalities in those places, in those positions. But my thing is this. We sometimes forget that we are over 80% white country. And even though we're in London, a lot of us are in London or the big cities, so sometimes we can forget that. So why is it an issue if we happen to see more of white people in those positions based on the reflection of the United Kingdom? As I said, I would love to see more diversity in those top positions, but we have to be realistic about the demographic of the UK.